you like this video, click like. If you want to continue to follow our adventure, hit subscribe. Your support would be greatly appreciated. Hello, Lives on the Road subscribers and followers. I've done a video where I talk about me, and because apparently that is something that subscribers are very interested in, is what led to the decision to do this lifestyle. What transpired in my life all along that made me do this. So I was just going to go through this first. If you want to see the original version, I'll put a link right here. The sound is very difficult to hear, especially if you're on a smartphone or an iPad. I played music. It has closed caption, so if you want to watch that through closed caption, you can read it. Okay, so what about me? Who am I? What do I do? Why do I do it? Well, first of all, I wanted to say that when I got out of high school, I joined the Navy and served 4 years on a submarine. It was a Trident ballistic missile submarine. It was one of the largest in the fleet at the time. And on a Trident, you spend 3 months out to sea and 3 months in, back and forth. And so I did that for 4 years. I was a machinist mate forward of the reactor. What does that mean? Nuclear submarines, Trident nuclear submarines, have a nuclear power plant. And so in order to be a machinist mate, you were either a nuclear machinist mate or you were a non-nuclear machinist mate. I was non-nuclear. So I was responsible for things like refrigeration systems, hydraulics, plumbing. Plumbing. So if there was ever a backup, you actually had to get into the sanitary tank. It was quite nasty. The diesel, which provided emergency power and ventilation. What else? I think I said hydraulics. I think that was about it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I mean, it was a lifetime ago. When I got out of the Navy, okay, let's see, when I was in the Navy, right after sub school, so I went to 8 weeks of boot camp, 6 weeks of sub school, I married my high school sweetheart. And we went to Washington, Bremerton, Washington area. It was actually Silverdale, Washington. And we lived there in an apartment for 4 years. When I got out, came back home, our marriage lasted another 2 years. But I think what happened was we were used to the Navy life. I was gone, and then I was back and gone. And here we are, a full-time married couple. And I don't know. I mean, I really can't understand what happened. It just did. We were young, of course, and our lifestyle had made a dramatic change. So it just didn't work. Later, I met my third wife. My second wife was, I guess, kind of a rebound thing. I was depressed and sad, but anyway, that only lasted a while, maybe a year. I mean, I don't even think about that marriage much. It was kind of irrelevant. And, so then I met my third wife, and she had a daughter, and so we got married, I guess, in 2001. Yep. And that marriage lasted 14 years. Now, my wife's daughter, biological father, gave up legal rights to her, so I adopted. It's called step-parent adoption. I adopted my daughter. I think she was around 2 or 3 years old, and raised her. We homeschooled her. So for 14 years, let's see, yeah, we were married for 14 years. When Kendra was 14, like I said, we homeschooled her. When Kendra was 14, she entered college. She is now 19, and she is finishing up her last year. What I say last year, that's 5 years, because she is double majoring. She majored in English and psychology. So it was a 5-year program to do both double major. What is interesting even more so is she has made a 4.0 the entire time she has been in school. I mean, I am just uber duper super proud of my daughter. She is just, oh. But, you know, I guess in full disclosure, we haven't talked. My ex-wife left in October. And the last time I saw was the following February. So I saw her in December and then again in February, and I haven't seen her since. And I'm not sure what it is that is keeping us apart. I've done a lot of research. What has happened is my ex moved back in with the biological father. Now, Kendra never met the biological father after I adopted her, never saw him. So she really didn't know who he was. So she grew up not knowing the biological father. Well, when they moved out, they moved back in with the biological father, and all my research tells me that for adopted children to be reintroduced like that to their biological parents really puts a strain on the adopted parents. I guess genetics just plays a big role in the relationship. And when there aren't genetics, there is this separation between the adopted parent and the adopted child. So, you know, I do wonder if I'll ever see her. She contacted me earlier when when school let out this last May. She contacted me and said she wanted me to meet her boyfriend, and I said sure, of course. And she said that they intended to take a road trip sometime, so they would come out here and meet with us. Well, my suspicions are that isn't going to happen because I haven't heard from her. You know, there's a lot of opinions on whether I should contact her or not contact her, but I'm telling you, I don't know the answer. She seems quite content with me not talking to her, because it seems as though anytime I talk to her, she is not happy about it. So I figured, and I hope so much that she will, you know, grow out of this, and that she'll understand that I did raise her. I was her father, and still am her father. I do recognize the biological father is playing a big role in her life right now, but I do hope that she understands that I raised her, and I gave her everything I had, and she always came first. I was working at a sheltered workshop. Now, sheltered workshop, what we do is we were manufacturers of products, and we hired disabled employees. The disabled employees, we had to teach them how to produce. And this was really good for them, because not only did they get to come in and be productive and be useful, and they felt happy about it, and they got to socialize with people, they were also being taught job skills. And a lot of them were able to move on from being employed at a sheltered workshop into a regular job. One fella that I just loved to death. He worked at the workshop. He was a good worker, but boy, he sure can misbehave. He sure could cause some problems. And you know, I worked with him and worked with him and worked with him until he calmed down enough that he could go get a job at a manufacturer. And I don't remember what he's making, but he was making like 15, 16 bucks an hour, which was just great for him, with insurance. Well, a year later, he decided on his own, without any help from the workshop or the community or anything, that he wanted a better job. So he went to another manufacturer and got a better job with more money and better benefits. So the program is very successful, but I am telling you, you had to put in so many hours, because anytime you wanted to produce something, say, you know, anything, you would have to train all those people to do it. Whereas if you go into a regular manufacturer, the folks already knew how to do it. And, you know, the sad thing is some of them you would teach today, and they would come back and do the same job tomorrow, and they wouldn't remember how to do it, so you would have to train them again. It was a lot of work. It was very, very, very stressful, very rewarding, but very stressful, and it was just more than I could do anymore. I'm very proud of my time in the workshop, but my health was a concern, so we moved on from there. Now, while I was in the workshop, I met Carolyn. Originally, she started out as a supervisor there, and she worked for me as I was the production manager, and she worked for me. After my wife left, Carolyn invited me over to her house to have supper. Well, I mean, that was fine. We went and had supper, and the next day I went back and told the boss that, you know, I'd done that, and he said, well, you know, that's probably not the best thing. And I knew that wasn't the best thing. But he was able to situate it so, I mean, you know, nothing happened at that point. But he was able to situate it where she could go work in the quality department, which was a great promotion for her. And I was able to maintain my production manager status. Again, it was totally innocent, and it was just supper, and I immediately went in and confessed it. And if he'd have told me, you know, stay away from her, that's probably what would have happened. But he worked with us, and here we are. So over time, you know, the relationship developed, and moved in together. And what, 2 or 3 years, 2.5 years? We did quit our job there. That was in February of this year, 2017. And got into the camper, and here we are living in a camper. So that is kind of the life story of me. Hope you did answer some of your questions, and I do appreciate you watching and taking the time to learn about me a little bit. I do know that you need to be able to trust me, that, you know, I'm a real guy, that I'm out here just kind of doing the real thing. So I thought this was important to answer this question. So anyway, thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe. Click like if you like the video, and happy travels.